Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
Ruh-roh. We've done it.
Ruh-roh. Wait a second. We've done what?
We are here
We done did it.
from the corner. From the corner of Texas Street and Main Street here in Crowley, Texas. Central Standard Time, I see 9:30 on the clock, which means we are live here on episode 030 of the Local Legend Show.
Episode.
My
episodes
goodness.
Dude.
Wow.
Good morning to you, Mr. Stephen Brown. How you doing this morning?
Hey, I'm grand. How are you doing, Mr. Jonathan Cook?
Doing wonderful.
Lovely. How are you doing, Mr. James Irwin?
Doing great, man.
Lovely.
I can't believe we made it right at 9:30 this morning.
I think this is the first. I think this is the first time we've ever been as on time as we could possibly be.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm looking here at probably one of our most hilarious shows ahead, and I'm so excited. Good morning to you, Mr.
Yeah.
Frank Cheek.
Man, it is an
Hey.
awesome blessing to be with you guys this morning. Thank you for this opportunity. We really appreciate that.
Man, you're welcome. Why don't you introduce who you brought with you here? Who we got to your left and the viewer's right?
Man, everybody should meet my son. This is Frankie. We travel together everywhere we have the opportunity to go. He's my little road manager. He's my son, and he's been probably one of the greatest blessings of my life. I tell you, when God gave him to me, I just did not know what a special treat I was in store for. So please, yes, he'll be doing some talking today, and he's
Awesome.
a real
All right.
gift from God. Thank you. This is Frankie.
Cannot
What
wait
up,
to meet
Frankie?
Frankie.
Say hi, bud.
How you doing?
Good.
Good, my man.
All right.
Frankie, can you hear in your headphones? Are you good?
Yeah, I good.
Okay.
Good, good.
Can
We
you,
can hear
can you
just
give me a
fine.
thumbs up, Frankie?
There it
Okay,
is.
looks like we're good down there.
Yeah, all right.
We're good from Frankie. We got the okay.
Dude, this is going to be a special show this morning.
I'm pumped.
And just
I'm
a word
pumped.
from our sponsors here with Stephen Brown. Let's take it away.
Hey, sponsored by the Jonathan Cook team at Keller Williams. For all of your real estate needs, contact the Jonathan Cook team today.
We are
We are
also
having
brought to you
fun.
by Island Massage in Burleson, and we will be giving away a free 60-minute Swedish massage to one of our listeners this morning.
Who wants a body massage?
That's
It's coming your way, so who wants a body massage?
Found it.
teed up.
That
That
was
is
beautiful.
That was teed
I promise
up.
we didn't plan that.
That was good, James. I'm proud of you this morning. You ready for a great show this morning?
am. Let's do it.
Steven, you ready
Handshakes
for a
all
great
around.
vodcast?
A vodcast.
This is something
This
new.
is new. What is this? Tell me about this
Hey,
vodcast.
So I was introduced to this term this week.
Is
I
this
didn't,
like Zoomers? Are we going to start?
No.
you have the option to adopt or decline this, but I found out this morning that whenever you have a podcast
Okay.
that is also recorded live and
Okay.
viewers can view it live,
Okay.
but it's played on the replay on the
Right.
the podcast platforms, this is now being referred to as a.
Vodcast.
How'd it feel rolling off your lips? Still on the fence
Like
about
a,
it?
yeah,
It makes
kinda-
me. It makes me think of
like it's felt like
adult
vape
beverages.
smoke
Yeah,
rolling
yeah.
off my lips. Like not very cool.
Not cool at all. Okay,
No.
so
I'm
what
out
I-
on podcasts.
what I think happened was
Vapecast.
the
Sounds-
video platform is kind of new last year. I mean, the
Yeah,
video
it is.
thing is kind of really growing, and
Sure. Yeah.
and
no,
so-
I guess so.
you know, some people just like to listen to the podcast. But you know, what we've found, not just are we on Google Chrome, Google Cast, Google Cast, Deezer, we're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and iTunes. But we're also on Facebook Live, where some of our best consumption comes from.
Yep.
So, we're a vodcast, all right? Whether we like it or not, we need to adopt it a little bit, whether we
Right.
use the term or not. It may not flow just well, but I thought that was kind of cool. What do you think about that?
I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I'm not gonna die on the hill of calling this thing a vodcast.
That's
or
not going to
but-
be your.
What about Zoomers? Can we readopt
No,
that
we
one?
cannot reevaluate
All
that.
right,
That's-
moving right along. So
Thank
let's
you.
go to our comments, because the first thing we do is always an order of business for the people who are viewing us live and the first people in here. So if you drop an emoji in here this morning, it means you're most likely watching live. If you could drop us an L in the comments below, standing for live, and if you're watching this maybe a week, a month, a century, or a DeLorean later, would you drop an R in a DeLorean?
That was a good car, wasn't it? I like that car.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
A DeLorean is a made-up word that means 10,000 years. 10,000 years.
Aren't all words made up though?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Okay.
if you're watching a DeLorean later, drop an R in the podcast in the comments below on Facebook Live,
DeLorean.
and we will give you shout-outs now. So let's go ahead and get to the shout-outs. Angie Catrone is watching live. Our second shout-out to Mr. Randy
Irwin.
Irwin.
Love it.
We love you, Randy.
Absolutely, we've loved you a long time. And our third shout-out is going to go to Mr. In Studio Frankie.
All
Frankie
right.
G.
All right. Wait for the go, Frank. Good job, old man. Jabbo.
Doing it.
All right.
That's the passies.
That's it.
Absolutely. I'm going to turn the camera here just a hair so we can get
Just a
Frankie in
scotch
there.
There we go.
Look at
there
that.
He is.
There he is.
All right, without further ado, Mr. John Sipes is on here as our fourth shout-out. So, Mr. John Sipes Jr.
Good morning, John the Sep. Oh.
Yeah, he was a little late to the podcast. So it starts at 9:30, John. We're going to have to start all over now because you were late.
Hey, at least he's not Aaron Allen levels of late.
Yeah, Aaron Allen will be tuning in around 9:59, sliding in maybe at 10:29.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Something like that.
And then we'll have to start all the way from scratch.
Yeah, we'll start over when Aaron Allen gets here. But this morning, tell us, those viewers this morning who have no idea who Frank Cheek is, what he does. You could be a car wrencher for all they know. Tell us who you are, where you live, and then introduce your lovely sidekick.
Most definitely. My name, of course, is Frank Cheek. What a blessing to be here on the vodcast this morning. I'm got to pick up that. Let's get a little sound for that right there. There we go. That was awesome. Man, I tell you, I'm learning about these headphones. These are really great. It's really nice to have them because basically I can't hear that well. So thank you so much.
Hey,
it really helps things a
Do you
lot
need
better.
more volume or less?
No, a little bit. That's just right there. Thank
Okay,
you.
perfect. All right. We
Well,
dialed it in.
We're from Granbury, Texas. We live down there about 20 years now, and my son and I have the awesome privilege of traveling around to churches and, corporate events, doing a little bit of Christian comedy. And people sometimes ask me, what is Christian comedy? And well, basically, it's just comedy that comes from a Christian, if you will. Sometimes you hear a show with a group of us, and you may not know exactly that it's not something preachy. It's just something fun, just meant to kind of glorify God through the cleanness and the overall family-oriented humor of it all. So, and of course, as mentioned, this is one of the greatest blessings of my life. My son Frankie, he's been with me 20 years now, and he is with me 24/7. So he helps me stay out of trouble most of the time.
All right.
Frankie, is your dad telling the truth? Did you keep him out of trouble?
Yeah, it did. Like my 10 more years.
Oh, yeah.
For 24 years.
24 years.
24 years.
Golly.
Keeping him out of trouble since 92?
That's weird.
Nine.
99?
No, I forget. Yeah, 99. 99. I think that's right.
Frankie, what happens when your dad gets out of line?
Oh, it's a person that me operate shows.
Oh, yeah, at the shows?
Yeah, operate.
Oh,
He texts mom when I get out of line. That's what he does right
Text
there.
mom.
That's right.
So do we keep it our little secret when he gets out of line?
Yes, it does.
Okay, we're gonna keep that our little secret. Don't tell anybody. So why don't you tell us maybe one of your most memorable experiences? What are we watching here on the screen there?
Oh, that's one of the Opry shows we have the pleasure of doing. Matter of fact, we'll be back down in Gladewater here in a couple of weeks at the Saturday Night Opry there in Gladewater, Texas. And it's always kind of, I tell folks, been my dream of dreams to someday make it to the big Opry there in Nashville, if you will.
That grand,
the grand old Opry.
old one?
The old one.
Or the old one?
And that's just some routine right there. I don't know exactly which one that is, but we travel there about every 2 or 3 months, and they've always been really good folks, kind of in between doing some church shows and things like that.
How awesome is that? So, do you have the same bit that you do every time, or do you do different bits? Tell us a little bit.
You're
about
working on a new
preparation.
hour right now. What's going on?
Well, basically, I just try to find the best knock joke book I can get, and that usually works for each show right there. I tell you, my career's taken off, and if you want to hear some good Aggie jokes or knock jokes, I try to do that. Yeah, no, mostly we do try to stay up and write new material. Each show we do, if it's one show that I go to frequently, we try to add new stuff each time we go, because a lot of the times in crowds like the Opry down in Gladewater, half the crowd will be about the same folks. So it's always challenging trying
Better
to
not
find
do the
something new.
same bit if it's the same crowd coming back.
No doubt.
Yeah, we learned that the hard way right there.
Running the same set night after night. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of comedian podcasts, and they talk a lot of. It seems like they all go every night to the Comedy Store in LA and just work on bits all the time. Do you have a place you go and do that? Just kind of flesh out stuff, or are you just always kind of evolving?
I tell you, down in Granbury, Texas, about the only place I can go to work out new stuff is usually the dining room table.
There you go.
And my wife and my daughter, they're like, "Oh, please, oh no, don't go in there. Daddy's trying out new jokes right now." And they're like my only audience, so bless their heart, they try to avoid me as much as they can at home. I I don't know if that's an act of love or an act of mercy. I'm not real sure right there.
Oh my goodness.
Could be both.
Yeah, my wife does the same
Amen.
thing. I'll try the same joke on her like 3 times. She's like, "You said that yesterday."
Yes.
Unamused.
And you didn't laugh yesterday,
Unamused.
so I'm gonna do it until you laugh.
That's it.
That's it. Sometimes with a joke, you just with your friends, especially, you just have to keep pounding it until they start to one day think it's funny.
I tell you, one of the hard things is since I don't have really a place to go, most of my new opportunities, if you will, they come in front of a live audience. So sometimes this the road of comedy is it's how
It's
do
a
you
road less
say?
traveled.
Yes, it is a road less traveled, or you just wish the rapture would come more often than than it does sometimes when you're trying out new stuff.
Well, this morning you got a live audience, so we're going to let you just sound off here in a minute if you want to do a little comedy bit after Frankie gives you permission, of course. Because, Frankie, we want to ask before we ever do a joke today because you are the boss.
Yeah, you're
That's
the road
true,
manager.
that's
You're gonna have to
true.
give us.
So have you? Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I'm
We
ready.
got,
Alright.
we got the okay.
Got
Frankie's
it.
ready.
All right. James, you were gonna say.
Oh, man, I don't even know. So how often do you tour?
We seem to, some months it's like, oh boy, and some months it's like, oh my. And
Yeah.
we might average about 2 shows, sometimes 4 shows a month. It varies. Like I said, sometimes I'm so busy I don't have time to do all the other stuff. And
Yeah.
Right,
there are
right.
certain times where it's like, uh-oh, we might need to get a new knock-knock joke book or something like that. It's not going so well this month. So
Yeah.
but we stay fairly busy. We're pretty blessed with that.
Good.
That's
good.
cool.
Knock,
Yeah.
knock.
Very cool.
Who's there?
Orange.
Orange who?
Aren't you glad I'm not the comedian talking this morning?
That's bad.
That was so.
I've had people tell me that before, so I can understand that.
Okay. Well, give me one of your favorite jokes. You got something on the cusp of your tongue that you
Yeah,
wanna
funny man. Do a joke.
Oh man,
Man, dance for us, buddy.
dance for us, buddy?
no pressure, huh? Just
Not at all.
most of my humor orients around my family. One of my very favorite jokes. Somebody once asked me, "What's one of the first jokes you ever did that seemed to work really well?" And we were, of course, married back in 1989, so we've been doing this about 30 years now. My wife's been a real blessing to me, and I know, as I say, she'll have a very large crown in heaven someday. And when we were first married, like most new husbands, I didn't really know what to say and to do. And I'll never forget that day she walked in with a brand new perm, and she came through the door. And without giving me a chance to pray, to think through things, she just quickly said, "Hey, sweetie, tell me, what's the first song that pops into your mind when you see my brand new perm?"
Okay.
And I do not know why. I guess I'd been watching too much TV. She's like, "Honey, what is the first song when you see my perm?" And the words that came out of my mouth were, "Cha-cha-cha-chia."
Oh gosh.
Oh, no. How did that
Yeah.
go? My goodness.
And of course, that led to some marriage counseling about a week later. So that really worked out pretty well. So
Just
that's
starting off on the marriage counseling foot. That's huge.
Yes, I needed that. I needed it very much, very, very much.
Frank,
Immediately.
do you do a lot of comedy down in Granbury area? Do you get to do any hometown shows? I know those sometimes can be more special than even the out of town shows.
Yeah, we've done about 4 or 5 shows in the last couple of years. There are a couple of churches. Actually, we did a couple of events for where my son was going to school. There's, of course, a church there called Lakeside Baptist Church, and they have a Lakeside Baptist Academy. And we did a couple of fundraisers for them. I brought in about 3 or 4 of my comedy buddies.
Is that where you go to
And,
school, Frankie?
Yes.
What's it called?
Lakeside Academy, Church High School.
Lakeside
Whoa.
Academy Church High School.
So everybody
Shout
watching
out.
from Lakeside Academy Church High School, Frankie says,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. So, and we, did a couple of events for them, and it turned out to be a really good show. They were a great crowd, a lot of fun down there.
Did they laugh?
At the other guys, they laughed quite a bit. Yes, they did. They really did. They really
I've
did.
always wondered, okay, this is a question I don't have any really close comedian friends. I've always wanted to know, how do you judge a good comedic show? So how do you judge?
When I first started out, I used to do shows, and you'd walk off a stage, and people would say things to you like, "Man, that was just so cute." And that would
What
be,
a gut punch.
yeah, that was about one of the worst things you could hear. And as I would talk to guys who'd been in the business for a while, they say, well, what they're saying to you is they're not really relating to what you're saying. They like
Right.
your joke. It's kind of like a stock joke, but it's not something that's real to them in their life. So I have found that the best comedians, the best comedy shows, usually are talking directly to people, what they're experiencing in their life, whether with their wives, their children, their work, their jobs, or just driving in traffic, whatever it may be. When people can visually go with you, that tends to be the best comedy shows.
I love it. We have a connection because my brother-in-law has Down syndrome.
Yes,
Hunter
yes.
Hunter Odom sometimes watches the podcast, and so Hunter, if you're watching this morning, shout out to you. And Frankie immediately came in and won my heart over.
Yes.
Tell me just the experience of having a son with Down syndrome, how awesome this is, because some people don't realize the joy. Stephen, you're previously a
Special ed teacher.
special ed teacher with the Crowley ISD.
That's
and so,
it.
Yes.
And James, tell us your tie. Your brother Randy is watching this morning. Randy, hello.
Hey, Randy.
Yeah, Randy's got cerebral palsy and
Yes.
challenges with that. So
We love this piece, and Randy's probably the local legends MVP. Have we announced that?
You
yet?
the real MVP.
he's the local legend listener of the week.
Listener of the week.
Listener of the
Okay,
week.
listener of the week.
Sure.
So tell us the joys
Every week.
of Frankie getting to be with you, and how awesome it is to have a son like Frankie.
Yeah, I tell you, when he was born 20 years ago, sometimes in shows I like to kind of stop and slow things down and give a little testimony about him. And I share with folks, as I said, when he was born, I had a little bit of a hard time at first. I lost, I wouldn't say I lost my faith, but my faith took a little bit of a blow because
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared for that. And I tell people over about the next year and a half or so, I took some time to do some healing. I kind of told God, I'm not going to be your friend anymore. I'm going to take my ball and go home. And
Right.
But over time, isn't it always so true? If we give God time, He can take something we don't understand and literally turn it into the most beautiful thing of your life. And that's what Frankie has been for me. I never just knew how wonderfully kind God was being with me when He shared Frankie with me, because
Right.
I simply can't imagine, my life without him. I just, every day is something wonderful. And there's so many stories I could share with you about him. And for example, one of the best short ones I've got is I was asking him one year, "What do you want for Christmas, Frankie?" And he looked so perplexed. And I was like, "I don't understand. Frank, tell me, son, what do you want for Christmas?" And he looked up to me with his big old eyes and he just simply said, "You."
Oh, man.
Wow.
Melt your heart.
So that's been my experience with him for 20 years. Just amazing.
Frankie, do you love your daddy?
Yeah, I do.
Hey, Frankie, what do you want for Christmas this year?
I want for Christmas. I want new rifleman.
Oh.
He loves Chuck Connors.
Oh.
He's a
Chuck Connors.
fan, yes.
No way.
Yes,
The rifleman.
So I need to give y'all an address so people can send in some Rifleman DVDs.
New
Yeah,
rifleman.
the complete season, please. You can usually find that on Amazon.
Have you
There you
seen
go.
how many? Do you have a favorite rifleman?
Yeah, I do. It's Chuck Connors.
Chuck Connors.
Chuck Connors. If Chuck Connors is watching this morning, would you please comment below and
We
give
lost
Frankie a
Chuck
big
Connors, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah,
Rest in peace, Chuck.
Former really good baseball player, by the way.
Well, Michelle Bell is watching live this
Yes.
morning. Michelle Bell is the creator and co-founder of Bell and May. It's a women's line of faith T-shirts. You can find that at Bell and May on Google, so you can find it on Instagram, Shop Bell and May. Shout out to Michelle Bell this morning.
Michelle.
We do have a
Shout
knock
out.
knock joke that has just been sent in by our
no.
fan of the week, Randy Irwin.
James, you
go.
should deliver it.
I'll
So
read it.
if we could
Hold
get a
on.
delivery from James on this one, it's in the comments below, and we're going to go ahead and deliver that right now.
All right, knock knock.
Hey, James, who's there?
Goliath.
Goliath. Goliath who?
Goliath down. You're looking tired. Oh, okay, hold on. Goliath down. You're looking tired.
Oh, that is good. Hey, I'll
One
open
of my favorites.
I can open with that next week. Thank you. I appreciate that. I need that.
Goliath down. You're looking tired. Wonderful, Randy. Randy, if you got any other ones, or
What's the deal with Knock Knock Joe?
if anybody wants to do a knock knock joke in the comments below, we're opening the phone lines now. So get your knock knock jokes in.
Oh, my.
Okay, so Randy. Okay, I have a
Hold on.
funny.
Here we go.
My little brother is very funny,
Hilarious, actually.
and so whenever we got,
Also a Christian comedian.
yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
So when I got married, my wife and I got married down in Mexico, and we took about 30 people with us.
Oh, wow.
Is that a brag?
Yeah, pretty
Did
much.
you just brag?
He just
Yeah, I
micro
did.
bragged.
I'll keep bragging all day. So, anyway, so Randy is one of them, and so we go down to Mexico, and the whole group basically flies together. We all get there about the same time. Like some people from out of state, everybody kind of landed in Cancun about the same time. So we all get to the airport, and then we all get on the bus to go to because when you go to a resort down there, you got to fly to Cancun, and then you
Be bused
there's
in.
a line of resorts, and you could be on the bus for 5 minutes or like an hour and 30. We were on like an hour long bus ride, but it's
Oh,
fun.
boy.
We were drinking beers and hanging out, and
Being-
so
hanging out.
so we've been on the so keep in mind we've been flying all day, riding on this bus for about 30 minutes, and everybody's having fun. And my little
Were you
brother
being
goes,
safe?
We were being real safe
Okay,
because you
good.
can't have one without the other.
No, you can't.
And Randy goes, "Okay, I'd like to make a toast." And everybody's like, "Oh, okay, all right, Randy." And he reaches in his pocket and pulls out a piece of toast that he'd been holding on to
No.
for like
way.
8 hours
For the moment.
That's
for that moment.
For the,
commitment
for
to
the
a
effective
bit.
delivery of
Yes.
the joke.
Yes.
Yeah, delivery.
I'd like to make a
Good
toast.
delivery.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's it.
Delivery.
Yes.
And everybody died.
So did he
'cause-
raise a toast?
Yeah, he raised a toast
Raised
and
toast.
put that nasty
like that,
piece
Frankie?
of bread up.
Yeah,
He's
I
been
do.
carrying it around all day.
That's classic. Randy Irwin,
You have a fan in Frankie.
you win the toast jokes. I love it.
So yeah, my brother's pretty funny.
Unbelievable. Well, as we go through our life, we never know when people are going to cross our paths. And recently, you and Frankie crossed our paths, and we're just such big fans of what y'all do. We wanted to have you as a part of the podcast. It's taken us a little bit to get you in, just because our schedules didn't align until today. But man, we're so blessed to have you guys, Frankie. Frankie laughed at Randy's joke, so at least one person was laughing at Randy's toast. And Randy, I want the jokes to keep flowing, so bring it on. You wanna talk to us about maybe something you have upcoming that you'd like to promote?
Yeah, like I said, we'll be here in a couple of weeks back down in Gladewater, and right after that, we'll be doing a private event. I've never had an opportunity to do this before. It's called the Clergy and Police Alliance in Fort Worth, and the Chief of Police and some other folks will be there. So I'm hoping that show goes real well, or we may not get to go home that day. So that ought to be a lot of fun like that. And usually December fills up with banquets at a lot of local churches and things like that.
yeah.
So nothing real big and fancy coming up, just some good solid stuff to kind of keep us out of trouble and off the road like that. if you
Well, you say that, but you have to go perform for the police chief.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, it's like they've already kind of told me this has to be extremely good. I'm like, wow. So
No pressure.
I'm going to use the toast joke right there.
There it is.
And the gladiator or go lay down. I love
Goliath
Goliath
down.
down.
I've got to do that. So
See, I feel like that joke would be better if you put Goliath down. You looketh tired.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
Change both of them to
You listening, Randy? You may
Randy.
add that to your...
I'm just some constructive feedback. If you're gonna go Goliath down, you want to go with looketh tired.
you know,
Very good, very good.
that's some good comedy writing, right? See, that's improv right
That's
there.
it,
That's
that's
awesome.
it.
There you go.
That's the piece.
So do you want to do some improv this morning?
Improv. Oh my.
He says no.
All right, moving right along.
Actually, there have been a couple times I've looked up, thought that, well, I wonder if that truck is going to stop right there, coming through the
Oh,
window. I
my
guess
gosh.
the folks can't see that, but that is
Let's turn
kind
it
of
around, just
really
in case
close
you're
right
wondering
there.
what he's referencing there.
Oh my.
We have a Ford Super Duty that parked in our parking lot this morning, inches from the
Is that
studio.
your truck? Brian?
No, I know our truck is not quite that new or that shiny. It's a little
That
bit
is-
different.
Fantastic.
That
we are
wall
back.
is not stopping that truck.
We're back. So one of the things we always ask our guests is, what is that breakthrough moment where you knew, wow, I actually am good at this. I have a career.
You know, what began to impress me most of all is, I guess I started out learning to enjoy the laughter people have, but sometimes I knew that there had to be more. When I started the journey years and years ago, something inside of me said that comedy and laughter is great, but if there's a way to leave a message with your comedy without people really knowing that you kind of left that message. And through the years, I began trying to figure out, now, how can I leave a impactful message for somebody, but it doesn't sound like they've been preached at or didn't even know the message was there. And I remember one particular show I had several years ago when I first began to understand that it's more than the laughter. A woman approached me after a show, and she just was almost tearful. And I thought, oh, man, this didn't go so well after all. It's like, and she goes, I just wanted to let you know that you said something tonight that it not only encouraged me, but my husband passed away about 3 months ago. And this is the first time I've laughed or thought that life was ever really going to turn around and get better.
Oh man.
And in that moment, I began to realize, wow, this is so much more than just me. That comedy really is about the inspiration or the encouragement sometimes you can leave means more to people. I love the laughter, of course, that blesses my heart because things seem to kind of fade away a little bit, but when people are encouraged like that, it just blesses my heart most of all. It really does.
Sometimes we say that the greatest way to get over maybe a depression or a tough day is to get outside of yourself and go pour into someone else with a compliment or, something that turns their day around.
It really does.
And, man, laughter does something for your soul. I truly believe that. It really, that's one of the greatest medicines for a headache. Just go laugh. Or smile at someone because smiling is contagious as well.
It really does. I mean,
Hold on, let's see. James.
Yes. Man, he could do that dental commercial right there. That is awesome.
I've been practicing my smile.
Is that Invisalign?
No, it was actually Dr. Kupperman right there on 174 who gave
Shout
me this
out
great
to
teeth.
Dr.
Shout out.
Kupperman. If you're watching this morning,
I used to love going to the orthodontist so much because he hired
Oh,
The hottest
Man,
chicks.
He hired. Whoa! What just happened?
sorry, I was playing a prank on you.
Oh wow! We got so loud. I thought I blew something up. Yeah, man. Dr. Coverman hired the best talent in town, and when you're 13 and you're going in like an unpleasant experience of getting them to
Good
tighten their
view? Are you
braces.
saying a good
oh
view?
my.
Yeah, they had good views.
Okay, cool.
You know how what's it like Twin Peaks? Good
Scenic views.
scenic views.
Good views.
Good
Good
scenic
food, good
views.
views.
I know
All
right where
how
you're
about
going
those,
with that.
How about those Rangers? All right. That's
All right. I can't say
Shout
how
out.
about those Cowboys because my goodness, what a headache I had going to bed Sunday night.
I know. A lot of folks were let down.
You know, the 11 yards
That was
that
not
Zeke
good.
Elliott got were probably about $70,000 per yard. And, he got that big paycheck. I just didn't see it.
I've
Man,
got
that
a,
Rams defense really showed up.
or
Sport, not Rams. Wow, Saints. I wasn't watching.
Not to say we just transitioned.
There you go.
Turns out the Cowboys played the Rams on Sunday.
this just in.
Sounds good.
Everybody thought it was the Saints, but it's a Ram. Sounds good. It does.
Yeah, man. So I'm sure you've had days where you like really killed on stage. You're like, man, that was so great. What's like the worst you ever bombed?
Oh yeah.
And
you
what
gotta
did you
have some
learn from
bombs.
that?
Wow. It might be right here today. no, my improv skills are a little rusty today.
There it is.
There you go. I was a little rim shot there. But, oh, wow. Where do you begin on one of those shows? I remember when I first started about, 12 or so years ago, I was asked to do a show that, there's certain things you get asked to do and you're not ready to do that. I had been doing some smaller church shows and maybe a couple little corporate events here and there, but they were all kind of medium-sized, I say. And I got a call from a talent agency, and they said, we'd like to book you to do a church show in Monroe, Louisiana. So,
Been there.
Been there.
Been
you
there
know,
too.
At the paper town where they make paper and it stinks real bad.
I think so. But
Well,
something stunk that day, and I don't think it was the paper, but we'll move on right
Is that
there.
Dunder
Oh,
Mifflin?
my goodness. Thank you very
There
much.
it is.
Scranton,
Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Random.
Scranton, Wilkes-Barre.
No, yeah, little Hershey talk there, but we took this show, and Frankie and I piled in the car, and we knew our career was really moving up the ladder when you get to go to Monroe, Louisiana.
Multi-state.
Actually, I think it was West Monroe, Louisiana. That might make that a little bit more impressive right there.
Home of LSU.
Oh my, we got there, and it was everything they advertised. It was a show of maybe about 1,000 people showed up for this event, and
Oh my God.
What?
Oh,
Nice.
we were like, maybe I got a little bit over my head on this. And they had me doing several things actually before the comedy portion of the show. So by the time I got up to do the show, the crowd was kind of like, so where's the comedian guy? So I kind of knew that wasn't going really well at all.
You didn't look the part?
I looked the part, but yes, that was basically, and I've heard that in most of my shows. I get a lot of crickets like that. So
Do you
I know
travel
that
with the
feeling.
crickets? Or
No, they usually show up on their own. bless them. Oh man,
It's
like
on your rider, isn't it?
It's like
I
a
need 2 Diet
yeah,
Cokes.
I don't even
some
need
sandwiches.
I don't even need a soundtrack for crickets. I get that pretty much at home and on the road, so that always works out for me. But man, you just have that show where you were struggling 45 minutes, and I kept asking the Lord, please, can you come now? And he was the only one laughing in the moment. I'm
Oh, wow.
like, this is not working out well at all. And literally, this is the only time this has ever happened. Every performer, comedian thinks, oh, please don't fall.
On
Oh.
stage?
on stage,
trip and fall?
like trip and fall, like the lawyer lawsuit type thing, and
Uh-oh.
and they had the stage was so big that it literally was like 10 or 12 steps down to the sanctuary floor. And I just thought I was just going to be nice and nimble because I was like, this is going south in a hurry. I'm not doing so well here. How quickly can I get this over with? I need to finish, stay strong, finish the race, all the good Christian stuff. And oh my, I missed a step.
And they thought that was part of the act?
No, I'm not
Physical
sure. That's about
comedy.
the only time they laughed, to be honest with you, that evening. And oh my, I caught myself going down, but I was almost like, hey, it worked. we got a response that day, and I'll never forget the difficult part of that whole event was thinking, I just wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared for this. And I turned around and I was so discouraged. And I walked back up the stairs with my back to the crowd, which, not ever supposed to do. And I put this microphone in the stand, and right there, in a moment, I just said to myself, this is it. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore.
So you're ready to give up after that.
I was just ready to hang it up. And
man.
my back is literally to about 1,000 people. And all of a sudden, I hear this. And I thought, oh, dear my, they're coming to get their money back. And I hope they didn't hang people in West Monroe because I wasn't real sure that day. And this,
I think that's more of an East Monroe
oh,
thing.
yeah, I was glad I wasn't in East Monroe. 'cause,
East side.
That's what would have happened that day. Oh, my goodness. And as I was almost afraid to turn around to see what was going on because the sound got louder and louder, finally I turned around, and out of the back of the sanctuary, a little 7-year-old boy with Down syndrome had gotten up from his seat, walked through all those people, walked up on stage, and as I turned around, he gave me the biggest hug of my life.
Oh, beautiful.
I tell that story, say it was difficult, but I never anticipated that in that moment I would find God's going, hey, it's okay. We got you, and I want to send your son to let you know about that. I love to tell that story because that's his heart. He's such a encourager because I needed a hug really bad. And I was just so surprised. And the whole crowd finally kind of relaxed and kind of came down. First applause we got the whole evening was when Frankie walked on stage. So he's saved his daddy quite a bit, many, many times with one of my favorite stories.
Frankie, you remember
Oh,
that?
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
Was it funny when Daddy fell or not real funny?
Yeah, real funny.
It was
Real funny.
real funny.
Real
Okay.
funny. We
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I agree.
Straight from the- straight from the man.
Hey, Frankie, is your dad funny?
Yeah, you did. Real silly funny.
Real
Real
silly
silly
funny.
funny.
Silly
Yeah,
and
you did.
funny.
Yeah.
Does your mom think he's funny too?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, Hannah too.
And Hannah.
And Hannah. Who's Hannah?
At home, it's sleeping.
Oh,
Oh.
She's,
She's sleeping.
That's sister. That's
Sister.
sister.
Oh,
Yes,
Sister Hannah.
Sister, yes.
Is it little sister or big sister?
Little sister.
little
Okay.
sister.
How old is Hannah?
It's 16.
16. Okay. Is,
She's 18.
18.
18.
is Hannah driving yet?
Yeah, it did. Get that a permit.
You
Yes,
got a
she is.
permit?
Yes.
Cool, man.
Are you scared to ride with Hannah?
Nah,
Yes.
not too much. A little bit.
A little bit.
bit,
okay,
Little bit.
let's
There we
go.
go. There we go.
He's acting tough, and then Dad throws him under the bus and says, no, yeah, you're scared to ride with him.
Is the legal age 16 or 18 to drive now?
I think it's 16, but she's 18, and she's doing pretty good. But I have to say this, if you don't mind.
Please.
You want to enhance your prayer life, your faith with God, you take a teenager for a driving lesson. That will do it every time. I took her out on one of the first drives we ever had, and it was an amazing thing. I saw miracles and things happen I didn't know
Oh.
would happen. Literally, I like to say, by the time we got back home, God had done so many wonderful things for us that, my bottle of water had turned to wine. It was that good of a driving
Yeah,
experience.
turn on wine.
It
Well,
turned to wine. That's right.
Actually, it was grape juice. We're Baptist.
Oh, yeah,
so,
yeah,
but,
right,
I,
right.
have to get that. I better throw that out there. I may not get that next church show right there. It was
There you
grape
go.
juice. Well, just
You want to give a shout out to your church? Anybody watching from your church this morning? And if you want to shout out, what's the name of your church you attend in Granbury?
I tell you, we were, goodness, right now we're kind of on a sabbatical, if you will. We
Yeah.
were members at a church called First Baptist Godly for about 15 years. And then we have visited several churches in the Cleburne area. And
Was it a godly church?
it was an extremely godly church.
Okay, excuse me for the
and
poor joke there.
everything
Hey, that's
right
usually.
there.
Yeah, go ahead. Thanks. There it is. There it is.
Hey, that sounds like one of my comedy shows right there. There we go.
I'm usually the one laying out those.
I said that in my holy jeans.
Hey-oh!
Oh!
Hey, you could be a pastor at one of the new churches dressed
Excuse
like that.
me. Sorry, I'm failing. As it was- Yeah, me too.
Me too.
All right, so First Baptist Godly took you
Yeah.
to where?
Oh my, oh gosh, well, let's see, we've done a little Latter-day Saints. We tried the Mormon Church for a while, but just those weren't working out for us. So we went
Okay.
back to the Baptist Church. They seemed to have, a little bit better potluck fellowship, so that worked out better for us.
Got to taste the food before you join the church.
That's right. And, if the food's not good, you can't join there. But and of all things, right now we are actually visiting. I know this won't make sense the way we're dressed and kind of the way we talk and stuff, but we're actually visiting the Cowboy Church down in Granbury called the Triple Cross Cowboy Church. And
Okay.
just a really neat fellowship. So,
Dirt floors and saddles?
no, but the coolest thing is, get this, on their church bulletin yesterday, and I'm not making this up, they are actually having, I've never seen this on a church bulletin before, a handgun class for the women of the church coming up in 4 weeks. So.
Handgun.
That's awesome,
Fantastic. John Sipes Jr. is in here, so let's go back to the comments below. We have a joke, and then we have a comment. John Sipes Jr. said, Open Door Church in Burleson is worth visiting sometime. So
Open door.
he would like to extend an invitation for you
Well,
to
I
come.
appreciate that.
come
Thank
there.
you.
Thank you, John, for that.
Randy
Mr.
dropped-
James Light just tuned in. James, he is actually our MVP of the month. Him and Randy Irwin just got Viewer of the Week. And Randy Irwin has another joke in the comments below. So we're going to take just a minute. This bit is called Jokes with Randy.
Okay, here we go.
As spoken by James.
Why did the frog cross the road?
I don't know, James. Why?
He got towed away.
Oh!
That's awesome. That is a good one there.
Frankie is,
Thanks, Randy.
once again, Frankie, is Randy funny?
Randy's funny.
Randy is funny.
Randy's funny. You heard it here first, folks. Randy is funny. So keep him up, Randy. And we have Island Massage on the phone. Let's see what they would like. Island Massage, you're live on the air at the Local Legend Show. Go right ahead. Good morning, Elizabeth. You're live on air.
So crank that.
Crank that volume,
We
man.
have no volume. Yeah, your volume's way down. All right.
Go ahead, Island Massage.
It's very nice to talk to you, sir. It's regarding a personal matter. Could you call me later, please?
Yes, ma'am. I'll call you later. Thank you so much, Island Massage. All right,
You are
bye-bye.
fake news.
Island Massage, one of our sponsors, calling this morning, and they
Island
have a-
Massage is canceling their sponsorship.
The check didn't go through, did it? Oh, my goodness. Oh,
Let's take
wow.
this moment to give away a 60-minute Swedish massage from Island Massage. Let's see
Do
what we
it.
got here.
What have we got here?
I'll tell you what. The first person who can drop a knock-knock joke that makes Steven laugh in the comments below will get a 60-minute Island Massage, Swedish massage, free of charge,
Boy, that
and
is
we'll mail you
tall task.
the gift card, or you can pick it up right here at our headquarters.
I will
James, what's the
hand deliver
address
it.
of the headquarters here where they can pick that up?
100 South Texas Street in Crowley, Texas, 76036.
If anybody's wondering, it's the forehead with eyes saying that.
Absolutely. Get your...
Oh, yeah, I'm out of frame by a lot. I realized this week I took a picture of my wife and I, like a selfie at a wedding. We dressed up, and I was like, oh, man, we look pretty good. And I took it, like, put it on the internet. And then I realized my forehead is literally half of my face.
Fantastic.
Like, from my hairline down to my chin, 50% of it is forehead.
What's it supposed to be? I mean, I think 50% forehead to face is a good
I don't know, man. You should shoot a
ratio.
movie on
I don't know,
this
man.
thing,
I've
dude.
got-
Drive-in theater for a forehead.
Dude, Steven's got like 20%. He's doing good.
I've got like
Yeah.
2 head.
Your little brother has, like,
One head.
he's got you could barely put a thumb between his eyebrows and his hairline, but man, he's got the best hairline, dog.
So perfect. Yeah.
You got
Shout
good
out to
hair,
Cody
too.
Brown.
You got a
Thank
great
you.
hairline.
Thank you. Yeah, it's mini plugs up there. No, I'm just actually
Mini
it's
plugs
still there. The real
Man.
stuff. I'm surprised.
The plugs have gotten great these days.
They have.
You know the Joel McHale guy? What's that on
Yeah.
E?
Uh-huh.
He used to be as bald as a cue ball.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, for real.
Dude, he's got a hairline up there bigger than Dallas now.
Bigger than Dallas.
That
That's
dude
it.
is killing it.
Prime time is back.
All right, so let's move right along because James Like says, glad it wasn't the colonic office calling for a personal matter. And James is right.
Yeah.
Speaking of the colonic office, Hydro Cleanse, where I get my colon cleanses.
That's not a colonic,
Daily.
though. Is it?
No, it's just a Hydro Cleanse. But they have actually decided to close their doors.
What?
Yeah, yesterday was the last day of Hydro Cleanse in Burleson, so I'm kind of sad about this.
Wonder
the building
why.
went up for sale, so they had a choice to make, and they didn't renew their lease. It kind of makes me sad. So let's just take a second of silence for.
There it is. Oh.
Man.
Well, give us one more second of that.
Nope.
All right, we love you. So long, and we will have updates on
Yes.
what Laura McNeely
Yes.
and all those people over there are
Hydro
up to.
Cleanse. They're
Hydro-
passing away, correct?
With who? What did you say?
Laura McNeely is her name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. Shout out to Laura, owner of HydroCleanse. Quinn's right.
Is she the owner still, or is it?
I thought
I
there was
guess
like
since it's
I thought there was like
closed.
an ex-girlfriend's name that you just spouted out for me. But
Oh,
anyway.
whoops. Okay, that would have been bad.
James
Okay.
is bragging about ex-girlfriend.
I thought I had an ex giving you a colon cleanse.
Frankie, so I just realized that Frankie is, I did the math. Are you 20 years old, Frankie?
Yes.
When is your birthday?
July 12.
Is that right? So
Yes.
what was your birthday party this year? Did you have a good birthday party?
I did.
Did you go bowling?
Bowling.
Yes, we did.
Oh wow!
Whoa.
Wow.
Good guess.
Thank you.
That was on.
Did you have that one in the can?
No, my brother-in-law Hunter is one of the best bowlers you've ever seen. By
Word.
default, since my father-in-law Brent goes with him all the time, Brent is
Yeah.
like a turkey master. And if you don't know the bowling term turkey,
I don't know. What is
I don't know
what is
what that
bowling?
is.
I
Yeah.
think it means. No, I digress. Go ahead, Stephen. What's
No.
a turkey?
I don't bowl. I can't bowl.
What is a turkey?
That's the that's the turkey I know.
I think it's 3 strikes in a row.
3 strikes in a row, huh?
Is that
That's
turkey?
it. That's it.
And so
Never done that.
you watch Hunter and Brent bowl, and it just makes you fall in love with the sport. I'm sure. Are you good at bowling, Frankie?
Yes.
See, I'm no good.
Can you beat
Yes.
your dad?
Yes, I've been for
Can you beat your dad at bowling?
Can you beat your dad at bowling?
Yeah, at bowling.
Okay.
He is so good. He's part of the Hood County Special Olympics bowling team.
Wow.
Whoa.
And they will be going to a competition the end of October.
Okay.
And so a little shout out for some bowling skills. He's pretty good. He's up there in those high 70s or 80s. So I'm still working, to try to get that far along. So
Fantastic.
He,
I've
he's
always
pretty
said
good at that stuff.
If my bowling scores and golf scores were flipped, I'd be a professional at both sports.
Oh my gosh. So in bowling, I guess you want
You want your perfect game in bowling's 300.
300. Okay, so you want a high score in
Well,
bowling.
That's it. There you go.
What's your highest score ever?
17, I think, something like that. That's with the
17.
bumper. That's with the bumper lanes too.
See, I
Just
can
didn't go
bowl
well
my-
today.
Oh.
I like to bowl my age.
Yeah, it's like, oh wow.
You know how like they say old guys like to golf their age.
You like to
oh,
bowl
you're
your-
78. You golf your age. I bowl my age, like 30,
That's
34,
there you go.
35.
See, I've got
Frankie, you
bad
have a
shoulder.
fan here. Mr. James Like says, Frankie, that's awesome. Good luck on the competition. So the Special Olympics piece, that's huge.
Yes, it is.
All right, we have a, let's go to the comments because we do have a
Do it.
contestant in here. If we can make Stephen laugh with this knock-knock jokes,
Do we
it
have
will
a
be
joke?
Tristan Nicole Ham who wins a 60-minute Swedish massage.
Okay, Tristan.
All right, here we go. Stephen, do not look. Knock, knock.
Who's there, Jonathan?
LeBron James.
That
Uh-oh.
doesn't count as Tristan's joke, does it? 'Cause
Okay,
that's- I really want to laugh at that.
Was that funny? He's about to laugh at that. Okay. Knock, knock.
Hey, Jonathan, who's there?
Who's there? Sodom?
Oh no.
Sodom who?
Sodom earlier, but didn't talk to him.
Meh.
Yeah.
Meh.
I don't get it yet.
I'm laying out any of that, Tristan. That was meh.
Okay, Stephen didn't laugh. Tristan, you may try again, or anybody that wants to get in a knock-knock joke. If you make Stephen laugh, you will win a 60-minute Swedish massage this morning.
Is a knock-knock joke exclusively a pun?
They are.
I'm not good at puns. My wife crushes puns.
Dude, she's the
At the
punniest person I
highest
know.
level. Yeah.
Matter of fact,
She'll say it. It'll be so next level to go over my head. I'm like, I don't get it.
Does
Yeah.
she do like seals or just boneless dogs?
oh my goodness. She stung me one time at a Rangers game with a pun. Kelsey hit me with a pun at a Rangers game about a
was
chocolate chip cookie. It was just, it was hilarious. It went something like this.
Go ahead.
She's, and I'm gonna annihilate it. Kelsey's never gonna want to hang out again. Kelsey was like, "Hey Jonathan, did you see that cookie?" And I was like, "No." And she said, "It's more like a chip because of all the chocolate chips in it."
Oh, that's awesome. I like that. That is
She
good
died
stuff.
laughing, and I didn't get it.
I don't.
Is there something
don't
there
know.
missing?
I don't know. I don't think she.
It's more chips than cookie.
Wait a second, James. I thought you said she was the pun master. That was
I don't think that was one of her jokes.
okay. You think John's just pulling that out of?
Yeah, one of my favorite puns though is
I just made that up. I'm sorry, James. That was so bad. I'm sorry. Kelsey, I ask for your forgiveness.
one of my favorite puns is who named or what idiot named it jet ski? It should have been called a boater cycle.
That is good.
that
yes,
is good.
That's
Yeah,
I've never heard that
motorcycle.
before.
Yeah.
That's much
So I
better.
exclusively call them boater cycles.
Motorcycles.
I'm okay with that.
Did Kelsey write that one?
No, somebody on Twitter, I think.
Okay. I've got another one that Kelsey wrote. All right, so we were at the Ranger game, right?
Okay. Oh,
Whoa.
Okay, hit it.
earthquake in the studio.
She goes, what do you call something at the end of a cable on stage?
I don't know, Jonathan. What?
I was like, I don't know, Kelsey, what? And she goes, Mike. Frankie, is Kelsey funny?
You guys got to go on the road. This is just wonderful, man. Y'all could start a comedy tour. You really could. This is good stuff. Just
That's what
fresh improv right
we
there.
get to come on the show every Tuesday and just be stupid. Like, we don't prep this at all. Like, this is, this is our outlet for.
Kind of like your comedy bit, it's not prepped at all. I'm not saying it's stupid. I wasn't going there. I was just saying it's not prepared at all. I'm sure that you get up there and you have a few in the bag, but is most of it just ad-libbed?
I have learned through the years that some of the best comedy is, of course, things happen in a show, and you got to be able to, maybe
roll with the punches,
stop for a minute and deal with whatever's going on in the crowd. And one of the best things about aging is I don't hear as well as I used to, so a lot of the heckling I don't really even respond to anymore.
Gosh,
but a lot of it is the improv, being able to stop. And sometimes when I say you kind of get into that zone and things are just flowing and you're going and it's just like half your stuff that night wasn't even planned. So those are always great
That's
moments.
hilarious.
I've been obsessed with comedy my whole. I remember when I was a kid thinking like, I would listen to I had like the Bill Cosby tapes, like
Bill
specials
Cosby.
that he had, and then and I always thought like they just go up there and make that up on the spot. That's insane. But I didn't realize it's the same bit. They've been working on it for 2 years and they just recorded it once. That's what's weird about comedy for like those guys at that level. You work for 2 years and you put a stand-up special out. Then you can't ever tell those jokes again. That is one of the strangest things about comedy. That's different because Jonathan and I were musicians, and we would, we'd spend 2 years writing an album, and then you're playing those songs for a decade, and maybe longer. You play them forever. People always want to hear Hotel California.
Play the hit.
But nobody wants to hear like the I don't know, like want to like not Chris Farley. Who am I thinking of? Chris Tucker or Chris.
Chris Rock?
Chris Rock. Nobody wants to hear any one of his bits again.
Yeah.
It's like you're not going to go see him to go see that 1994 special.
That's right.
That's what's weird about comedy. It's a different kind of art form,
I went one time to Wheels of Fortune. What's the one with Bob Barker? Is it Wheels of Fortune?
Oh, Price is Right, man.
Price is Right.
The Price is Right.
I went to Price is Right in 2009 to a live taping.
You just lost.
I just lost.
Did you win?
Bob Barker wasn't on. It was the
Drew
Carey. Yeah.
Drew Carey.
So between the Buried and Me, between commercials, it was hilarious because Drew Carey actually did stand-up comedy, and so what the public doesn't see is like the 5 minutes that everybody's on commercial. Drew was doing stand-up comedy.
Nice.
I tell you what, he told me at the end of it because we were down front, and I went up. I was like, Drew, do you make all that up on the spot? He said every night he just plays off the crowd. So whatever's going on in the crowd, he'll pick somebody out and he'll kind of, cool shirt, or something.
Yeah.
And it was die-laughing, slapstick hilarious. I mean, Drew Carey's probably one of my top favorite comedians now just because of that.
He's a good comedian.
Yeah, I mean,
that's probably how he came up.
Improv, yeah.
Yeah, you get a great crowd, and it's just it's wonderful. A crowd that wants to play along in a fun way, and it's one of the most enjoyable experiences of all. It really is good
Now, on the
stuff.
flip side of that, if the crowd comes and they're like, this guy better be very funny because I've had a tough day, I'm sure you've seen just the walls up that you have to break down.
There have been certain events. We did an event at the federal prison in Fort Worth a couple of years ago, and talking about the walls that were up.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm sorry, I had a little pun there. I had to throw that one in real
That
quick.
was funny.
Well, I better work on that one when I get home.
Well, hold on.
But
There it is.
there we go. I needed that. Thank you. So I need that more often and more shows. Hey, where's the rim guy? But that was one of those shows you got there and you weren't sure how it was going to go. A little bit scary. You never seen so much barbed wire in all your life, and all of a sudden, you're just beginning to, if you will, minister to just 200 or 300 women who are there and they're hurting. And boy, they loved that show so much. They would interact with you, and they had such a good sense of humor. They were willing to let you kind of improv with them a little bit. So it was a great moment.
Dude, that sounds like a
That's
blast.
awesome.
I wish I would have been there. I want to come
You wish
see
you would have been in
live.
federal prison?
No, at that show like a fly on the wall.
Federal.
Yeah.
A free fly on the wall.
Yeah.
I'm free.
They can just take right off. Who are some of your favorite comedians?
Oh, wow, there's been so many. I grew up kind of the old latchkey. I'm probably the oldest guy here in the room, so my babysitter was TV most of the time. And, gosh, I grew up watching reruns of Abbott and Costello and the Marx Brothers. Even saw a few Jack Benny's and Red Skeltons. I know y'all are all young guys, probably have no idea who
I know
that
Red
is.
Skelton is.
Red Skelton.
My dad
Well,
loved
yeah.
Red Skelton.
Yeah, little red hair
Loves
there.
his
Did you
So.
say your babysitter growing up was T.D. Jakes?
Wow, what if?
Well, boy, I tell you,
I heard TD.
T.
Oh, TV.
TV.
Oh,
TV.
Sorry, bad
Little
joke.
TV joke there. Hey,
I
it's
was a
good,
Christian. I was trying to be a Christian comedy.
good pun though. I
Comedian,
like
okay,
TD
thank
TV. That works out.
TV.
Okay. So we have some old shows that we used to watch called Gomer Pyle.
Oh yes.
Sergeant Sarge. What was that show?
Sergeant, it's Gomer Pyle USMC. It's
Oh.
Sergeant Carter.
Sergeant Carter.
Sergeant Carter. Those two comedians might be my all-time favorite. Rest in peace,
Jim Neighbors.
Jim Neighbors.
And
Yes.
what was
Sergeant Carter.
Shazam. Yeah.
Goalie. That fell too.
No, I was resting Pete.
Oh, resting and piecing.
Yeah.
For Jim Neighbors. Got it. So let's move right along because we have a lot of contestants here that want to play the game. So
There's
let's
some
get right
jokes in
into the
there?
game. Knock, knock, joke, and crack Steven. So Steven's getting his cheeks set up.
Let's do it.
And if you make Steven laugh, you win a 60-minute Swedish massage from Island Massage. Here we
Okay.
go. Our first contestant is Mr. John Sipes Jr.
Okay.
So here we go. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Knock, knock.
Who's
knock.
there?
I'm going to keep knocking because Jesus is waiting for you to open the door.
Open the door.
I get it, John.
Okay, didn't work. All right, John, thanks for trying. You can get another one in soon. James Like is the next
Okay.
contestant
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
Okay.
Make
Go,
Steven laugh. Here we go.
Go, James.
James Like says, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Cash.
Cash.
Cashew.
No thanks. I'll have a peanut.
Oh.
A peanut
Catch
butter.
me outside. How about that?
I'm laughing at James.
James would have
I'm laughing
won.
at James Irwin.
Okay. James Like, nice try. Moving
Good try.
right on to
That was
our
good.
It's
next
all fake
contestant.
news.
Yeah, that was-
It's phony stuff.
Well, that was a
It
misfire.
didn't happen.
John Sipes Jr., if you will please step back up to the podium. You're up next.
Okay, here
John
we go.
Sipes
Here we
says,
go.
knock, knock.
Who's there?
Hawaii.
Hawaii who?
I'm fine. Hawaii you.
That was good.
You didn't laugh. Okay.
Is this going to become a regular feature on y'all's show?
This could
is
be
really
the new.
good.
This
Might
is
be.
really- This is.
All right. John Sipes is back on the podium. He says, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Voodoo.
There. Voodoo.
Voodoo, you think you are asking me so many questions?
We're having fun.
What do you think, Frankie?
Nothing.
Okay. Frankie says
Maybe
no.
we need
Nothing.
to make it.
John Sipes is back again.
Is he back?
Knock,
you-
knock.
Knock, knock.
It's a numbers game, John. I get it.
Knock, knock, Steven.
Oh, who's there?
Knock,
Nana.
knock, Steven.
Nana who?
Nana, your business. Knock, knock.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Hatch.
Hash.
Hachuka's in tight.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Kylan Salazar's on the podium. Kylan says, knock, knock.
Who's
Knock, knock.
there?
Pecan.
Knock on.
Pecan who?
Pecan, somebody your own size.
That's nice.
Okay, Tristan Nicole Ham's on the podium. Tristan says, knock, knock.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
A door.
A door.
Adore who?
A door is between us. Open up.
Open up.
No.
Good night. All right,
Man.
John Sipes Jr.'s back on the
Oh,
podium.
my
Okay,
gosh,
come
here we
on
go.
back. Here we go.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
No, no. What's there?
Lettuce.
Lettuce who?
Let us in. It's cold outside.
It's cool outside.
If this was make Frankie laugh, everybody wins.
Everybody gets a.
Frankie's
island
giving away all these
massage.
massages. I'm too stoic.
That's why he travels with his hair together.
There we go.
Wow, Steven, you're tough. No, do you have a joke stored up? We need a joke.
Oh my!
We need to get
That's
something
not a
going.
joke.
Frankie, what's a good joke?
You got a good joke, son.
No, you're gonna get shown
Oh
in
my
the
goodness.
school.
Man, my son, like I said, he is such a blessing. He travels with me, and my family's always been so encouraging. And yeah, we're talking about my daughter a while ago, and of course, oh my goodness, she just graduated, and she's going through where am I going to go to college?
Sure.
And she was accepted at several colleges, of course, except we just didn't have a lot of, a lot of funds to.
You're a
We just had a little action
dick.
down there to make that happen, and. She was telling me one of the schools she wanted to go to when we were going through the planning stage before she was finally accepted somewhere.
It broke
And
it.
she kept talking about this school and that school and how much it cost. And I said, sweetheart, there is a great school literally not 10 minutes from our house. And she seemed so flustered by that. And her response was basically like, Daddy, I simply must attend a 4-year school, and that is only 2. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
can't you just go twice?
Oh.
And she was about the same response. I was like, hey, we can save a lot of money if you do that.
Yeah, lots of money.
Oh, my. Yes. And Frankie always bails me out when it's not going so well. Just about like that right there. So,
Well, that's a great idea. I've never thought about going to a 2-year school twice and get a
there we go.
bachelor's.
There we go.
Wait,
But that idea didn't go over so well. So
It didn't work. Where'd she end up going?
Oh my goodness, she looks like she's going to wind up going to TCU or Texas A&M. So I don't know if I can handle 4 years of whoop, but
Rah TCU.
we'll see what happens.
Hullabaloo.
Go Frogs.
Cuckoo-ca-choo.
Tristan Nicole Ham says knock knock.
Who's there,
Knock, knock,
Tristan?
what's there?
Etch.
That's it.
Etch who? God bless you.
Ah,
We already had that one, except they said hatch instead
that's
of etch.
cheating.
Etch is
That's
funnier.
true.
Etch is more of a sneeze from the diaphragm.
I'm not a loud sneezer, so
Okay, so that one didn't work.
no, I don't.
All right, we're going to continue on the journey of make Steven laugh. All right, so James, this week you had a new listing go to the market on South Lake Street. Can you tell us about that one?
Oh yeah. So I think we're live on Saturday. We had a new listing. This is the real estate section of the show. And do we need like a music bed for that? Do you think?
Yeah, go ahead.
Where's the cantina? Here we go. We had a new listing go live on South Lake in the heart of Magnolia, 2 blocks south of the chat room right there. So I believe it's already sold. Shout out to Breaking News, but
Oh wow, so you sold it in 2 days?
I believe so. I think we got 3 offers right now, all over asking price. It's listed at $400,000. So
Wow.
yeah, so we should sell that thing today. Dusty, if you're watching, man, I think we got some good news coming here in about
So
an
if you're
hour.
looking for a listing agent, it sounds like James Irwin is your man. If
I can
you've
get
got a
it done.
property that you are looking to buy, sell, or trade, call James. We do 1031 exchanges as well.
Doo-doo.
And we'll help you
Doo-doo.
swap till you drop on a 1031 exchange.
That's it.
James, what is a 1031 exchange, just for those people that are listening and maybe want a 20-second description of how that works?
So if you essentially, in lay terms, it's if
Hold
you
on,
sell
hold
one
on.
property, what do you got?
James, get in the frame.
Am I out of frame
You're
still?
way out of frame.
Okay, I'm just like
But
so
I just
chill, leaning
now
back
we
in
have
this
your
chair.
we have your chironic credentials right there.
There we go. Look at that. I'm gonna come up into frame.
Duck Dynasty. There we go.
A 1031 exchange is where you it's like a tax loophole for real estate professionals where if you sell one property you own, you can take the money, the gains from that. Maybe you've got some appreciation, you've held it for a long time. Hashtag gains. And you just move that money right into another property and not have to pay the tax on it.
Is
on
it
the,
just
on the
for real
capital
estate
gains.
professionals, or is it for anyone?
Anyone.
Okay.
Anyone can do a tax-free exchange like that. So.
Okay, cool. So if you got a property to sell, you want to cash in on the gains, and then you got more money to spend,
Come
the
on.
whole transfer of that money through a 1031 is tax exempt. So
Yep. Well, we can tell you how to do that.
we have been doing that quite a bit lately, where property, someone's owned something for a while, it's gone way up in value, and they say, well, now it's worth so much, I could take that money and I could go buy 2 properties with it. And so that's what we're
Yep.
seeing a lot of times, and they can do that tax exempt. So get with us if you've got a property you want us to get you the value on. We'll do that free of charge, and we can give you a true market assessment of your property. Man, I tell you what, this hour went by quickly.
Absolutely.
I want to just fill your
Oh,
bucket.
wow, it definitely did.
Want to say thanks so much for you guys coming. Frankie, you are awesome, dude.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you, Frankie.
Yeah, way to go, Frankie.
Is this your first podcast, Frankie?
Yeah, 4 guests.
First one.
Well, thank you for letting the Local Legend Show be your first.
First time for everything.
Frank
Yes,
Cheek,
yes,
do
it
you have a
is.
website where people can check you out?
Yeah, please come by my site, frankcheek.com. I have my email on there, so send me a message. I'd love to pray for you, keep in touch with you. That'd be a blessing.
Man,
Love
how
it.
awesome, dude.
Love
This
it.
is our first comedian on the show and not our last. I hope to have you back sometime.
Thank you, sir.
I just like to fill your bucket, man. You came in here today, and you really brought joy to our office from the moment I met you and your son. It's just a true blessing to see what heroes we have. The special needs is not easy, but boy, it is so joyful.
Greatest gift of all, really.
I
is.
love that. And
It
sharing
is.
your story with us, and Frankie, you sharing your story with us. You're awesome, dude.
Yeah, take a lot of money.
You're welcome. Thank you. The pleasure's mine. Try again next week. We got a knock-knock joke from James Like. Let's see if he can win.
Hold on. Let's real quick.
A
while
parting joke. Knock-knock. You can keep the music rolling.
Yeah,
A
keep rolling.
knock-knock.
Who's
Knock,
there?
knock. What's
Dwayne.
Dwayne who?
that? Wait,
Dwayne the bathtub. I'm drowning.
That's pretty good. I
Okay,
like
Yeah,
I
the
got it.
winning.
All right.
Goodbye, guys. Next week.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week at 9:30.
Y'all stay awesome.
Signing out. Signing
We're
off.
out. We're out.
See you
Yes.
next week.
We'll be right back 9:30 to 10:30 next
Yes.
Tuesday. See you guys
See you
soon.
next year.
Thanks for tuning in.